Testing mic 1, 2, and 3. Hello everybody, Andrew C. Bailey here. Welcome to the Masterclass. I've decided to do what I call a spur of the moment Masterclass where inspiration hits and I execute. So I'm going to go over tonight on this Masterclass, or whenever you're seeing it, I'm going to lay down some stuff I've learned about how to communicate with people in a way that really connects with them on more of not a superficial level. Like, I don't want to connect with people on the tip of the iceberg. I want to go deep. I want depth when I talk to people. I don't care if we talk for 5 minutes. I want to go deep with you and have you walk away. Imagine this. Every person you ever meet walks away feeling better about themselves because they interacted with you. Because you were the person, you were the soul that was told, go talk to this person, go deep with them, give them presence, give them focus. So tonight I'm going to be talking about how to be good with people, why you should even be listening to me in the first place about this topic. This is one of the topics where I feel like I'm an absolute master at. Not many things I feel like I'm a master at, but this one I feel like is something that I've worked with so many people, thousands of people over the years, especially on this topic of how can we go from somebody that's maybe afraid to talk to people, or maybe you feel like you're an introvert and you really you're like me, you like to study. You get a lot of fulfillment from study. And so you want people to leave you alone. And so you don't have that momentum in the direction of, hey, I'm talking to people, right? I'm in my man cave, by the way. It's so peaceful out here. It's in a trailer. So peaceful. Out of the house. Oh, it's nice. Space. And it's a cold night. But this masterclass is going to teach you how to walk away feeling good about interactions with people. Interactions with people. Get out your notepads. Turn down and off your social media apps and all that stuff. Because what I'm going to tell you, you can use for the rest of your life. And yes, this is a paid masterclass. And so I deliver it free, and then I take it down. This is one you're going to want to keep and review and review and review over and over again. Why? Because I want you to walk away feeling like you're confident in, or at least have grabbed some gold that you can implement in your own conversations with people, your own communications with people. Now, I grew up as a very shy kid, and I was told when I remember this faint memory of going in to get my hair cut. And I'm just this little redhead, cute as ever. And I'm sitting in the chair, and the beautician says, "Cat got your tongue, kid?" And I was imprinted with that. And then I had family members basically telling me I'm shy, and that reinforced that identity. And so you can imagine growing up with a shy identity. Identity is, in my opinion, beliefs about who you think you are, beliefs about what you can and can't do, beliefs about the possibilities that are available for you. But I want to tell you this. When I had the identity of a shy person, I manifested things that were congruent with that belief system. So I would manifest sitting with people and feeling awkward. I would manifest being in my head all the time about what other people thought about me, which is dreadful suffering created by my own mind. We're suffering from our memory and our imagination. You've heard that. Our memory and our imagination. When we're in conversations, or when I was in conversations as a little boy, I remember thinking, why am I not saying anything? How do I speak to these people? And I also thought, why can everybody talk and I can't? What's going on here? Is there something wrong with me? Oh, adding that to my belief system. So I was very locked and shut down when it came to group interactions with people. And I didn't know what to say to even start a conversation. I thought you were either born with social skills, communication skills, or you were either effed. You were shit out of luck. And so I was wrong about that, because when I actually studied, like ferociously studied communication skills, I began to improve. I began to think about new things. I began to relate differently to myself, aka having a different identity. Now, here's why I have a lot of experience talking to people. When I was 16, I started working at a furniture store in Hamilton, Montana. And at that furniture store, I had to deliver to people's houses comforters, sofas, lazy boys. Sometimes I would be going into a multimillionaire's house. Sometimes I'd be going into somebody that bought a bed in, a trailer park. All sorts of people. But I had to call people and communicate the delivery stuff with them. And I had to knock on the door. I'm 16 years old and I don't have any social skills, and I'm having to learn to have eye contact with the customer. I'm learning how to actually deliver on your promises. They paid for furniture. I'm here to deliver. Not always easy because the stuff is heavy. And so I dealt with a lot of people. I dealt with the millionaire who was mad at me because I had mud on my shoes and he had a white carpet. That was a great day, right? So I started talking to people when I was a kid. After that job, I went to a more isolated job, and I tell people this all the time, is Sweet Pea Sewer and Septic. And this was a place where I was actually just working for a summer cleaning porta potties. Yes, it was fabulous. After that job, the next one was Linens and Things, which I don't even know if they're around, but they were exactly like Bed Bath & Beyond. And I did all sorts of stuff there. I sold Dysons, like those high-end vacuum cleaners, cookware, plates, all sorts of stuff to people. And when I got that job, I didn't think that I would be put out on the sales floor. But the person said, yeah, you're going to be on the sales floor the whole time. And I'm like, well, what do you mean I'm going to be on the sales floor the whole time? Might be why you're called a sales associate. You have to talk to people. And so some days I would be talking to like 40, 50 different women, like craziness. And sometimes it'd be a lot slower than that. I had to talk to people. I had to communicate to them. I had to sell them. I had to tell them what to buy, what not to buy. I said, never buy those Roombas at the time. I don't know, maybe they've improved. I think they're surveillance thingamajigs nowadays, but the Roombas were always in the back. And so I would tell them, don't get the Roomba. We get returns on that. If you want something that's going to last and not be in something you take back to us, return the Dyson here. It'll last you forever. Plus, it feels better. It looks better in your home. People come over. You have guests over. They see you have a Dyson. They're like, damn, that's a top-of-the-line vacuum cleaner. So I sold on the floor in front of people with no training. And I also was the only one seemingly competent to actually go, hey, let's be nice to the customer. Let's actually give eye contact to the customer. And when managers would get into little tiffles, spouts with the customers, yes, I saw that massive amount of times, guess what would happen? I'd have to diffuse it. Oh, come on over. Come on over. Come on over. Well, I'll handle this for you. And I'd call it corporate for ladies that had got into it with the manager, one of my managers. So I talked to a lot of women all the time. All the time. Cookware, plates. You want a Cuisinart? I got one. Right? So I was out there exposed to meeting people. Right? But I still had a problem in my dating life. I didn't know how to talk to women. And every relationship I had failed. They failed miserably because when I got in the relationship, I couldn't really communicate with the woman. So there was no depth. There was zero depth. No depth. It was shallow, tip of the iceberg kind of relationship. And then I got to a point where I went over to a girlfriend's. I got invited over. I was dating somebody new from work. And she invited me over to meet her parents. And I didn't say anything the whole night. I didn't say anything the whole night. I was frozen. Frozen. It was meeting her parents and her brothers and sisters. And I walked out and I felt horrible. I didn't say anything the whole night. And lo and behold, a couple days later, I'm at this movie called Zodiac with Jake Gyllenhaal in the movie theater. And I get a text that basically she wants to break up with me, or she's breaking up with me. And that was just so devastating. Another relationship failed. Now, this led me to something wonderful. I'll tell you in a second. What's your biggest takeaway so far? So, let's continue the story. Because this is good. This is going to get so good. This is going to be the most valuable thing you've ever seen. Where were we? We talked about linens and things. So in linens and things, I would talk to people every day. And I would basically be the manager when I was pretty much just a lead sales associate. So I was like managing the store all the time. And they kept asking me to be a manager. Oh, I was talking about my dating life. And so I was dating this girl. I went over to her parents and I didn't say anything the whole night. And then she dumps me, right? So I'm devastated. That summer, it was 2007. There was the Keys to the VIP and Pickup Artist on, like, it was online, on the TV, right? On the boob tube. They're playing it. And I was watching them take socially introverted guys and what they would do is help them meet women. And they would help them go from, I'll never meet women, I might as well just die now, or settle and be single all my life, to, hey, I can open a conversation. I can transition to a deep topic. I can really listen and have presence. I can bring out that more authentic, playful side of me when I want to during the conversation. And I can walk away with contact, whether that's a business contact or whether that's, a love interest. So these two shows showed the possibility of that for me. And as a young man who was fed up, I went on a journey where I started studying how to meet women. I started studying how to talk to women. I started studying the difference between men and women. And I started approaching women in person. Yes, I would approach women in person, in bars, in clubs, in malls. And I became really addicted to just the whole thing, to becoming that person who could walk up to any woman that I felt attraction for and be able to open my mouth and be able to transition the conversation, lead the conversation, and really either walk away with a contact or I at least did it. You know what it takes to walk up to somebody, start a conversation, have the conversation, then have them walk away feeling amazing, and you too? Do you know how much of a rush that is? And hardly anybody gets to experience it because we're all isolated. We're isolated after the bullshit of the last couple years. And I'm not saying good stuff didn't happen because of that, but we need to get back to talking to people. If you're in business, do you need to be able to talk to people? If you're in business, do you need to be able to communicate with people effectively? I would say yes. I would say it's the most important skill. It's critical skill. It's absolutely vital that you become really great with people because you're going to be talking to people for the rest of your life. It's definitely an unknown in this day and age. Yes, I agree with that. But let's make it a known for you and for me. And let's start communicating effectively. Do you know how much of a dopamine hit talking to people can be? It's amazing, especially when you can make them feel so special. When people can watch you, when people can really be like, wow, that person, was special. That person actually made an impact on me. I'm still afraid to call leads back. Yes. That's common. Why, I would ask. Why are you afraid to communicate with somebody? This is a sale. It sounds like a sales thing. Okay. Do you believe in your product? Do you actually believe your product is amazing? Are you obsessed with your product? Do you love it? Like, are you associated to the benefits of your product? Where you look at your product or service and think, this is the bee's knees. I see the value even if other people don't see the value. This is amazing. And you genuinely feel that. And you're compelled and driven to move forward. And you're not selling. Or I guess you are, but you don't have to say you're selling. This is what I'm trying to say. You can say, I'm inviting people into an offer. I'm inviting people into a gift that transforms the quality of their life. So I really love thinking about inviting people to parties, inviting people into offers. That little change of it. Oh, I'm selling the old lexicon, I think it's called, right? Language of sales can be converted into words and phrases that actually make you feel better about it. Like, I'm not selling people, I'm inviting them into a life-changing event. Totally different paradigm you're coming from. Right? Call the lead back. Text the lead. Follow up. Follow up. Why would you not follow up? What would get you to not follow through on following up with a lead? What pain do you perceive it will be if you follow up with a lead? The only reason you're not doing something is because you have more pain linked to it than you have pain linked to doing it. You have pain linked to following through. And if the biosuit perceives that there's pain in the expansion or going into that activity, you'll pull back. You'll sabotage. Dude, this is getting so good. I promise you, if you just digest what I'm saying here, light bulbs will come on. You love your product? I love my product, The Zone. It's awesome. Okay? People get massive results, not only financially, but they get focused. They get clear. Some people are meeting lovers. It's amazing. So I want to talk about communicating with people effectively and you becoming a master communicator. So back to the story. So I'm watching Keys to the VIP. I'm watching The Pickup Artist. I'm thinking this stuff kind of sounds weird, but I'm going to go out and do it. And I did it. And I went out, and the second time I actually got a girl's number who worked for Fred Meyer. I got her number. Okay? We're going from shy and afraid of people to I got a girl's number. A girl I walked up to. This is awesome. Right? Okay. Wow. But you know what? Then I went in and I saw her. Actually, I got her number when I was in the supermarket, when I was at Fred Meyer. It was late at night. I remember it like yesterday. Now it's coming back. And I asked her for her number. She was a cashier, and she wrote it down, and she was giddy. But then I didn't follow up with her because I didn't know how. I didn't have a clue how to text a girl, how to call a girl. And I had pain linked to women at that point, especially going deeper with them. So you can't figure out why you're not talking to people, see your pain level that's linked to talking to people. If you believe you're going to get pain by talking to people, like they're going to reveal something that you've kept hidden, it's like a secret to you. And if you believe you go to like a family function, a lot of people will be able to relate to this, and you don't want your family to bring up the stuff that you're secretly embarrassed about. Whoa. I'm telling you, there's so many reasons why people don't communicate with other people. But do you have pain linked to people? Do you have pain linked to people? Or do you have pleasure linked to people? It's so fun. It's so fun. Talking to people is fun. It's the best thing in the world. I love making people feel better than they've ever felt in their life. So I started approaching women, and I ended up approaching 3,000 women, probably actually more, in that time period. And it sounds exhausting. People are like, man, that sounds exhausting. And no, it wasn't. But it was like a rite of passage for me, because I had to fight going into the bars. I'd go into a bar, be dressed up in a suit. Everybody else looking nice. And I would have to compete with my own thoughts. My own thoughts would be like, that girl's too hot over there, or you're not good looking enough. No, dude, what are you thinking? The Seahawks are here. The football players are here, and they're massively tall. And you're 5'10" and a half, and you have a smaller frame. No way. So it was like this noticing of these scripts inside my head when I went out to socialize. So that's one of my first tips, is when you're out socializing, notice what's going on in your inner dialogue. It's probably an old school inner dialogue from when you were younger. And you got to analyze that. You get to analyze that. What's going on in here automatically when I put myself in a business situation, or talking to a client on a call, or doing a sales presentation? What's going on in my head? When you're talking to your spouse, what's going on in here? Are you present with them? Are you listening? Or are you just waiting for them to be done so you can say what you have in your head and make it all about you? Okay, we're going to be talking about a lot of the errors people make too, that I've seen over the years. So you can just like skip those. But I want you to notice. I want you to notice the thoughts you have when you talk to people, or when you're on a sales call, or what are the thoughts that come up before a sales call, or what, like all this crazy stuff. But you got to look inside, because you're the awareness. You are consciousness. That's your true identity. And so you're watching these passing clouds. I'm not good enough. You're a loser. Why haven't you said anything? You're bad with people. Look, people are thinking bad about you. And you're not the thought, and you're not the emotion. You're the awareness that sees it. You're the watcher. And so when you're in social situations, I want you to be the watcher. I want you to watch your thoughts. Watch your thoughts. Do you ever think about what you think about? Ed Milet says. Do you ever think about what you think about? What do you think about most? What you think about, you bring about. What you think about consistently will manifest. What you think about has to become revealed, and you have to become aware of it. Self-awareness is the most important thing. What's going on in your mind? For me, it was, she's hot and I'm not valuable enough to approach her. Or I will bomb if I go and talk to her, and all her friends will laugh at me. Or I just think I should go home early tonight. I don't know. I don't really feel like socializing. Noticing the thoughts inside your head. Noticing the thoughts inside your head. You may have thoughts as you're watching this. You may have thoughts as you're watching this. Notice your thoughts. Mostly they're autopilot thoughts, old thoughts, recycled thoughts, thoughts you picked up when they're just going through the ether, and you're picking up. They're other people's thoughts. You don't know where all your thoughts are coming from, do you? Where are your thoughts located? Where are your thoughts located? Can you tell me, are they in here, or are they out here, or both? Interesting question. When you're talking to people, what are you thinking about? What are you thinking about when you're chilling with people? Okay. And they're most likely autopilot thoughts. So approaching 3,000 men and women is way more than that. It was constant. I had structure. I went out for 4 nights a week for 4 hours straight. And I had to talk to 12 new people a night. So a lot of walking up to people and learning that they stare at you like deer in the headlights, not knowing that they're trying to figure out, what does this person want from me? And how long are they going to stay? Those are the two questions that people have when you approach them, is what does this person want? And how long are they going to stay around? And so I'd approach people. And they'd have those questions going up in their mind, but they probably wouldn't be aware of it. But what if you were becoming aware of it? And next time you're in conversation with a boss, with a VA, with a producer, whatever you got going on in your life, notice the thoughts that come up. Notice the thoughts that are coming up in your mind when you're talking to people. I genuinely love talking to people. And then I have that part of me that's so introverted, leave me alone forever. This is the most valuable skill ever. Communication, social skills, conversation skills. Because if you don't have them, you might be afraid in business to move forward, to call that lead, to follow up, to text them. Or you might not be able to tell somebody you love that you actually love them, because you don't have the skill to do so. Skills are so important. Skills are so important and underrated. Conversation skills. When I learned how to talk to people, I can tell you this. Not only did I become a more fulfilled person, but I became so present in my life that when somebody was with me, they would be able to feel my entire aura. They'd be able to feel my soul. And they'd walk away feeling like, I don't know what he said, but that was great. And that was my intention always. I'm going to give you some tips on how to be great at conversations. Some of my top tips right now. Give people great eye contact. Absolute great eye contact. Like, look them in the eyes. I think eye contact is gone downhill. Way downhill. Not even close to what it used to be. And when I say used to be, it wasn't good back then either. So I had a hard lesson when I was 18. I was dating a girl, and I went into one of her friend's house, and her friend's mom was there. And my eye contact was really bad, and I was really shy, and I was really insecure. And she hammered at me for like 5 minutes for why I didn't hold eye contact with her, and why it was bad, and why I would need this skill for the rest of my life, looking people in the eyes. And it was like God spoke to me, even though I internalized it as a negative event. But looking back on it, I'm like, wow, it taught me the power of eye contact. You're showing people respect when you give them your undivided attention. And when you don't give them your undivided attention because you're on the phone, let's say, while you're talking to them, you're not with them. They can feel it. It's all about how you make people feel. Remind yourself of that. How do you want to make people feel? When I give good eye contact, I make people feel really good, because it's just a soul-to-soul connection. Recognizing that you're my brother or sister, and that we're not different. We may have different beliefs. We may have different ideas about things. But we have a lot in common, even if we think we don't have a lot in common. So eye contact is one thing. Please up your eye contact. Practice with cashiers. Practice with people. Practice eye contact. So when I was talking to these women, when I gave them eye contact, not creepy eye contact, but I'm there with you. You matter to me. Think about what kind of eye contact you'd love to receive from your loved ones. And then now you start giving that which you want to receive. You give that. If you up and increase your eye contact, I guarantee people will like you 10 times more. The next thing is, when I'm listening to somebody, I'm listening. I'm not in my head thinking about what I'm going to say. I'm not even chewing on the bone of the thing that comes up in my brain when they say something and my brain goes, what's that related to? So let's say they start talking about a cat chasing a mouse. I might think of a childhood cat chasing a mouse, and it may be like a crazy story. I kind of have the ability to put that aside and just listen. Right? So I'm listening. But the reason I can listen is because I'm looking for the lessons. Everybody has value. Everybody has value. Even your worst enemy has value. Meaning you can learn from them. So I go into every interaction learning. We should do some humming. You deserve to have great social skills. I said, Jacqueline's my girl. I said, how valuable are the social skills that I used on you to get you interested in me, and that I taught you after we became boyfriend and girlfriend, and you started coming to my dating seminars where I taught communication skills, and then she learned the communication skills. I said, how valuable? She said, it's the most valuable thing ever. I said, who would you be without those skills? She said, and I said, that's the value of the skills. The value of the skills is that you can talk to anybody, anytime, anywhere. You can turn conflict into something that actually is an opportunity for you and the person involved. Eye contact's got to be good, though. You got to actually listen to people when they're communicating with you. I'm looking for, what can I learn from this person? If they tell me something that I haven't learned before, I'm going to walk away better. If they give me a piece of data that sometimes God speaks through other people. And so they're talking to you and God's giving you data to help you manifest what you want, or it's just part of your life path. And he gives you it. And I'm like, whoa, I've had several people in my life actually give me data. For example, a couple of years ago, I went on a 2-year van adventure. And I would get stationed at these KOAs. They're like camping places. And I remember one time we were in Las Vegas, Jacqueline and I were, and we didn't know what we were going to do next at this KOA. We needed to leave because actually we got kicked out because our van wasn't regulated. It wasn't up to par with what they allow there. You had to be a fifth wheel or whatever, or another RV type. So we got kicked out, and then we're like, where are we going to go? The next thing you know, Jacqueline walks to the bathroom and then back, and this guy intercepts her. I guess you could do that. Intersect and intercepts her. And they start having a discussion, and I can hear the discussion. And he says, you got to go to this place called the Valley of Fire. And we're like, we've never heard of it. And so we decided after that God was speaking to us, we go unlock the Valley of Fire during 108-degree day. And then that leads us around a bunch of different camping sites and one thing after the next. And then another camping place right after that. Somebody walks up to me, super nice guy and his wife. We have a conversation. She says, you got to go to the Sequoias. You got to see is it Grand Marshall? Something like that. Giant tree. And I'm talking, and by the way, I'm using my social skills. I'm good eye contact, listening to what they're saying, because God's speaking through them to me. And I'm like, okay, we're going to the Sequoias, and we did. So you don't know when somebody's talking to you. It could be God. It could be just that person too. So, but the important part is that you understand, you really understand, you get that data's being relayed to you. And so every person, you're going to walk away with gold. It totally changes how you think about people. Even that person that annoys you, you go into a conversation with him and try to learn something. Try to learn something. And you'll start seeing that person differently. And because you go in for learning and you're looking and you're aware, now conversations are really valuable. Because the next lesson is that I want you to pretend that every person is hooked up to 1,000 people. Everybody knows 1,000 people. And so you're not talking to one person. You're talking to somebody who's connected with a bunch of people. So if you talk to 10 people, that's going to be 10,000 possible, you could call them leads if you're in business. You could call it just potential opportunities. You don't know. So now everybody's kind of looking good. We're like, whoa, okay. It doesn't mean we like go and talk to people we really get bad vibes from. But we go in there to get data, to receive data, not like I gotta get the data. It's not that. It's like, man, I go into every conversation open to learn. That's the vibe. Now, when you get people to teach you is actually something that really took my communication skills to the next level. When you have people teach you something back. And so I just said that you can learn from everybody, right? I was down at Taki Moore's Black Belt event, or one of Black Belt events. And I'm sitting there at the table with a bunch of like millionaires and whatnot. And I'm talking, and Taki jumps in, and he's got communication skills. This was one of my coaches, and he's got good communication skills. He drops in and says, Andy, why don't you tell everybody what you do and how you help people? And he would drop a bomb. So he would allow everybody's focus to come to me, and then I would tell everybody about what I do. And he used this on me multiple times. It was a communication skill. It was an absolute communication skill. And to be able to go down there, by the way, and sit in front of some people that were winning far beyond what I had ever done, took communication skills. And I used every communication skill I had, including being authentic. Because authenticity, as many of you have seen, is the highest vibration. A lot of people are saying that now. Even higher than love, even higher than gratitude, even higher than appreciation. We're now saying authenticity. And whether that or not that's true, being authentic is critical. Because when somebody can feel that you're actually being real in an AI world, they'll feel that soul-to-soul connection, which is what they really want to feel. When you're feeling connected to people, you feel more joyous. When you're feeling connected to quality people, you start to awaken a part of you that's maybe been dormant for a long time. Talking to people is important. Learning how to communicate with people, even people you don't prefer, is critical. If you want to be successful in business, if you want to be successful in your music career, in an art career, in any career in any game you enter to play. So eye contact's got to be good. Going in with a learner's mindset. And then doing this, asking quality questions. I ask better questions than anybody does. Because Tony Robbins taught me, like, the quality of questions you ask is related to the quality of your life. So I was like, well, I'm just going to focus on some questions. So I'm like, okay, what's some good questions? What's some good questions? If it was a Saturday morning and you had nothing to do and you could do anything you want, what would you be doing? Saturday morning, nothing's on your calendar, and you get to do anything you want. What are you doing? And then they're going to tell me. And then I got some interesting data right there, right? Let's say I'm going to go in my hot tub. Okay. Now I know they have a hot tub. I'm listening. And then I'll be, well, what would you be watching TV in your hot tub? Oh, I don't watch TV. I don't have TVs. Okay, great. How hot is the hot tub? Oh, it's like this and this degrees. It'll melt your body, all this stuff. Now we're talking about a hot tub. Now I know somebody who has a hot tub, likes hot tubs, and they said that they wanted to do it. So I'm going to ask them about hot tubs. I don't know a lot about hot tubs. Did you buy the hot tub at a sales place that sold hot tubs? And you're going to be now noticing I'm talking about something that's relevant to them. You've got to talk about things people actually care about. Always talking about, so I'm always looking for something else called a hot spot. I also call it a green light sometimes, but I'm going to do it first. I'm looking for their hot spots. This person right here, what do they absolutely love? What's like something that really turns them on? What's something that they could talk about for days on end without stopping? That's another question. If you could talk about something for days on end without stopping, what would you talk about? The person rips off their clothes. They tell you, this is what I love. Now you talk about that. Boom, boom, boom. Especially if I don't know it. So I'm down at that black belt event, and one of the traffic guys, a Facebook ad guy, who was like the star of the event, I got into a conversation with him. I sat with him at the table strategically because I was trying to figure out Facebook ads. I remember that. And we started talking about golfing, and I said, I know I've only been golfing once. What's the most optimal stance? And he said, oh, I know. He gets up from the table, he gets into his golf stance, he snuckers down, and he's showing me the grip, and I'm like, oh, is it like this or that? And he's like, this, make sure you always do this and not this. Oh, I'm like, yeah, okay, good. And then he shows me how to swing, the degrees, all of it, because he was obsessed with golf. And so now I'm talking to this guy about golf. He's excited. I'm excited because I'm learning. He's feeling up, right? He's feeling really good. It's not about manipulating people. It's about making people feel good. And in turn, that makes you feel good. Like, people need communication with other human beings. Okay? It's really important for people's health. Go research why it's important. Go research why it's important. Sporting a longer hair, by the way, if you haven't noticed. So, asking quality questions. What was the most exciting moment of your life? What was the most exciting moment of your entire life? What's the top lesson you would tell people if it was your last day on earth? What's the most important piece of wisdom you've ever heard in your entire life? I'm asking deep questions. I'm not asking about the weather or what music you like, unless I notice they're a musician, and like I'm a musician too, so we could maybe riff off of that. But it's not typically where I would go. I'm wondering what drives that soul. I want to find your motive. I want to find your passion. I want to maybe walk away and you say, the person says, I'm going to do something with my life. Or they're already successful and they're like, I'm ready to up level. I'm ready to take my income, my impact to the next level. I'm ready to take my music career to the next level. I'm ready to get my art business going. On that van adventure, something happened. The van broke down. Jacqueline and I are sitting at the mechanic. We're in the room. We're in the waiting room. An hour goes by. I'm hoping the mechanic can fix it, because these vans are complex. 2 hours go by. 3 hours. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're sitting there 8 hours. We got a cat, by the way, with us. He travels well. And the next thing that happened was this. They walked out and told us they can't get the van fixed until tomorrow because they got to order a part. So the mechanic's kid took us into a hotel, and it was a Super 8 hotel. Not my favorite. So we go in there, we stay the night, and when we go downstairs, we were waiting for the taxi to take us back to the mechanic, and I run into the cat with the lady with 100 cats. And she's the person at the front hotel, and she talks a lot. And we get her to tell us her life with cats and how she loves cats. She's obsessed with cats. She wants more cats. Stray cats come to her constantly. And then while we're talking, a cat comes to the window. It's wild. But it gets even better. So the taxi picks us up, and I'm talking to the guy in the taxi, and he's a younger man than me, and he dreamed of going to a festival. Like, he talked about, it was like something he really wanted to do, because I asked him, I said, what do you really want to do with your life? And he said, I'd really love to go to this festival. And I said, why haven't you done it? And he told me all the reasons why. And when I got out of that van, I gave him eye contact, and I said, you're going to that thing. It's happening for you, and you're blessed. And I walked out after I paid, right? And it was epic. It was epic. So, and then we get in and the bill's $777. And I'm like, it's crazy. Being good with people is essential skill. Otherwise, you're not going to like people. You don't want to be around people. You want to retreat from people. Sometimes when I've been down in my life, the thing I needed most was to connect with people, not to retreat into hibernation. Hibernation is necessary a lot of the time, but I notice if that connection is down for me, I'm less fulfilled. I'm less excited. I'm less driven. My creativity's dimmed. I'm not saying other people are the access to my good feelings, but I'm saying they definitely, when you connect with quality people, or you learn how to connect with every single person and learn from them, people won't become a barrier for you anymore. People won't become something that you're in an internal fight with when you get around them, where your nervous system is freaking out when you're around people. We don't want that. And if we do, we love up on it. We love up on it. We absolutely love up on it. We love up on it. We love up on it. And we love up on it. We don't beat ourselves up for resistance. It's a mistake. I'm going to love myself regardless. I'm unavailable to treating myself like shit in social situations or just in life in general. I don't know when my last breath will be. It could be tonight. Who knows? But I'm going to connect with people in my life. So, I talked to over 3,000 people during that time of 2007 to 2010, and I continued teaching guys how to do it. And I would watch their interactions. I would go out with them into a bar and I'd watch their interactions. I would hear the conversations. We would debrief about what went on. These are socially introverted people and who are behind a computer all day usually, and they never interacted with people in their life. They are successful on paper, numbers wise, but they can't open their mouth and they live in fear. That's who I was dealing with. And I was always wondering why people would say, you're doing God's work. Well, the clients that I'm working with are heavy in terms of how long they've told themselves that they're bad with people, or how long they've told the story of people are out to get me, I must protect myself. It's become part of them. It's become an identity, and to let go of that identity is, even though they might want to, because expansion is more fruitful, you just keep in the same place, eating the same deviled egg over and over again. Let's go back to eye contact. Rate your eye contact with people on a scale of 1 to 10. Rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being my eye contact is absolute garbage. 10 being people love when I give them eye contact. Self-honesty is curative. Be honest with yourself. Because we can't get past to the next level with people unless you're honest. Okay? Let me think about today. I was out. I had exceptional eye contact with the cashier that I saw at Safeway. I've seen her for years. And we looked at each other and we had a moment. A moment of human-to-human contact. The next thing, when you go into conversations, are you going in to learn? Or are you going there to get something? Or are you going, why are you interacting with somebody? I go in to learn. Because I literally do believe, and you don't have to believe, I'm not telling you what to believe, I believe God speaks through other people to me a lot. Hallelujah. Drive-in today, Jacqueline and I, we're listening to some beautiful choir music, and it said hallelujah. Then we discussed, Jacqueline and I discussed what hallelujah means, and I said I really don't know the definition and I need to look it up, but I guess it probably doesn't mean anything other than the meaning I give it. However, What is the cultural, like the regular definition of hallelujah? So about 20 minutes later, a man gets out of his car and he's singing hallelujah, hallelujah. He's saying hallelujah. It's crazy. And I'm like, wow, thoughts become things. If you haven't noticed lately, by the way, people's manifestations are speeding up. And that's because the energy of the planet is changing, and also the consciousness of people is going up and up and up. And the consciousness of people going up means they're awakening from the matrix. And they're awakening from the matrix, which means you can have great conversations with them if you're a person that's woke up in the matrix. What do I mean about the matrix? Well, there's many different types of people you'll run across through in your conversations. Many. And you want to meet a lot of variety. But a lot of them are locked into the same kind of thinking that they got indoctrinated with in school, that I got indoctrinated with. And schools were developed to basically make people employees and to give you an employee mindset and to not have you be creative and not have you be entrepreneurial. And so that's what schools do. They indoctrinate you into a mindset. And so, like, you didn't have the mindset. How many conversation courses did you take in high school? How many? I'm not talking about Spanish or French or taking a language class. I'm talking about human connection. Zero. None. We're not even taught about how to interview well. It's a pretty important skill. Interviewing well. Coming off. When you're talking to people, you come off a certain way. If you have darty eye contact, you come off a certain way. If you have overly piercing eye contact, you come off a certain way. If you relax your eyes, look away every once in a while, and fully be present with people. Get them to slow down. Get you to slow down. Create space. When you're with another person, you create a world unlike any other world. And nobody else in existence can create the same world you're creating with the same energy signature, you could say. It's a sacred moment when you meet somebody new. It's a sacred moment when you talk to somebody you've known forever and you give them more presence and eye contact than ever before. Because you're not trying to get anything from them. You will receive the learnings if you're ready to receive. But if I'm going to a conversation just to be heard, just to talk about what I want to talk about, and I do that all the time, that other person's not wanting to talk about what they truly love, which is their own world, their own individual hologram, their own individual planet Earth experience, their own little video game. So they want to talk about the hot spots. What do they love to talk about? I want to find those. There's only a few things that people like to talk about that are more valuable in their minds than other things. If you talked about electric guitars with me, I'd probably love it. If you talked about how shoelaces are made, I'd probably be less interested. Actually, I would probably dive into that one too, though. I would say, well, where are they made? Is there bad chemicals on them? How many shoelace manufacturers are there around the world? How many different companies make shoelaces? When you learn how to talk to people, you can take anything, any thread, and go deep with it. So being with people will light you up. It will fulfill you. It's a lot of the time, it's what you're looking for. But it's with quality people. Now, we can learn how to talk to people that we're not going to go super deep with or spend a lot of time with, because there's a standard on who we accept into our reality. The standard of people is quality, because you do become who you hang around with. So if you're always hanging around with people who are not congruent with your goals whatsoever, that might affect your goals. It's not the all-determining factor of it. I know a lot of people who have their old friends who have successful businesses, and their friends don't. They're just doing jobs, which is fine. Why do you want to be good with people? Ask yourself this question, because I had to answer and be honest with myself. I was like, if I continue not being good with people, what's my life look like? How's that going to affect me in business? How's it going to affect me in deals? How's it going to affect me in sales? Is it going to help me to not be good with people? Or is it going to really help me being good with people? Why do you want to be good with people? Because when you're good with people, life becomes better. I noticed when I started talking to people and when I started being present with people, I noticed myself getting happier. Light bulbs were going off in my brain, circuits going off in my brain that can only be ignited in that way, through quality conversations and depth to those conversations. Becoming good with people, I would say, if I had to put a money amount on it, $1 trillion. Very valuable. The most valuable thing I've ever learned. But you may be thinking, oh, that's going to take a lot of effort. But when you're in conversation with somebody who you're lighting up, or maybe they're like a great conversationalist too. Whoa, what happens when you meet a good conversationalist and you're a good conversationalist? You can have depth. You can have depth. Especially if they allow others to have different beliefs than them, which is my next thing I want to talk about. If you only talk to people that think like you, only, then those will be the only thoughts you'll have. If you talk to people that have radically different beliefs than you, you might learn something. You might not agree with anything that they say, but feel thankful that you have a different perspective. What if you had a different perspective? I like to gather multiple perspectives and come to no conclusion about things. No conclusion. I just like to grab data points. That's how my brain works. I love it. And I love going to a conversation and having somebody talk about something I completely disagree with, and me going, and then me going, what question could I ask this person that would get them to possibly entertain a new perspective and challenge their belief, but that doesn't trigger them where they go ape on you, which if people are going ape on you, you got to watch that. Because I've had, in the early days in 2007, I hung around some wingmen that had such a intense vibe that they would trigger fights in other men. Their pain body was so heavy that the other men could feel it, and that were compatible with that vibe in fights. Like, you're giving off a vibe. What's your vibe? What's your brand? If you're your brand, what is your vibe? What's your authentic vibe? When you're like not trying to be somebody, you're not trying to be like, oh, I'm this person with status. When you're not trying to be that, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm done. I'm not available for the status thing anymore. I'm done. I think that's part of the matrix. It's constantly like trying to grab status, and it's like opting out of that so you can be free from that. Free from that paradigm of needing status. It's cold in here. It is cold in here. I turned off the heater because I didn't want the mic to catch it. And so now I'm in cryotherapy. So, but being in cryotherapy can awaken me because it keeps me awake. So I allow others to have different belief systems than me. I seek out different opinions. I want to learn from people that don't just have my opinion, because maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong a lot. Have you been wrong a lot in your life? I bet you have. So, and if you know that God speaks through other people, or you could just say the universe speaks through other people to you, then you start talking to people. Start talking to people. Start talking to people. So I want you to look at yourself in the mirror tonight or tomorrow or for the next week and say, I'm good with people. I choose that I'm good with people. I choose that I'm good with people. I'm good with people. I choose that I'm good with people. I'm giving people good eye contact. I'm giving people incredible eye contact. I'm giving people incredible eye contact. I'm giving people incredible eye contact. I'm so present when I'm with people. People walk away feeling ignited after they talk to me. I'm getting better at asking great questions like, if you could live your entire life over, what would you do differently? Or if you had to change anything with the world, what would it be? Learning, eye contact, listening, actually listening. So one thing you can do to improve is exactly what I did in college. I took a music course, and it was a music course that specifically made us listen to pieces of music that had layered instruments. And then we'd have to listen to each instrument and then write out what we heard, and we'd be quizzed on it. And so we'd be listening. I think there's a baritone sax in there. I think there's like a big bass drum. I think there's percussion. Like, we had to really listen. Any skill and social skills you can improve upon. No matter if you've been bad with people or you're a little rusty. So listen to silence. Balance out. Connect with your breath. And then focus. Present. Be a light in somebody else's life. Want to talk to people. Want to talk to people. Maybe going against a belief system you have right now. How do you find your beliefs about people? You get out a sheet of paper and write on the top, people are ... People are ... You write it out. People are ... And you stream out, stream of consciousness, without editing or judging yourself. What are the actual beliefs that come to mind when you think about people? People are generous. People are fun. People are innovative. People are creative. People are funky monkey. And you don't want to just write down the ones that are positive. You want to write down whatever comes up, and usually that'll be some ones that are a little sticky in there. Like, people, I can't trust them. Can you imagine going around believing that you can't trust anybody versus a reality of, I choose to trust people? I choose to trust myself. I'm not saying don't learn to shoot a gun or anything like that. I'm not saying that, or learn self-defense. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying, what do you want to choose to believe about people? The first thing is we got to see what's in your subconscious mind. People are streaming out, catch it like fish in a net, and find out, what do you actually believe about people at this point? Not what you believed last week. What do you believe now? Do you believe people are friendly? Do you believe you only interact with amazing people? The universe only sends me amazing people. And what if an amazing person was somebody who was challenging, yet was dropping off data that you needed to know? Like when Jacqueline got that guy, talked to her and said, you got to go to the Valley of Fire. I love people. I choose to love people. I've said this to myself millions of times, by the way. In the beginning, I didn't believe it because I was programmed to be shy. And I'm not blaming anybody. That was an important part of my journey. Being good with people is important. People are fun. People are joyous. People are learning machines. People are all different. People are variety. I interact with amazing people. Amazing people come to me constantly. I'm so lucky. I'm receiving good news constantly. The amount of good people in my life is getting incredible. You start seeing this stuff before it manifests in your life. Before you see the evidence. Because what you speak about, you bring about. Start saying different stuff. Start thinking different stuff. And you'll start feeling different stuff. When you start feeling different stuff, the universe will show you a reflection of that, of your feeling state. Change how you feel, change your life. Tune your mind to a reality where people love you, people like you. But you don't need their love, approval, their appreciation. You don't need it. Because you're so whole and full inside and nothing's missing. And you know your worth. Because you set your worth. You say, I'm valuable. I'm so valuable. I'm valuable. Because I decide my worth, not anybody else. Nobody can decide how valuable I am as a human being. Nobody. 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 Not even in a crazy society that told you that your self-worth is the same as your net worth. They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing. And if you confuse those two, it's a life of suffering. Okay? You're worthy beyond measure, beyond description. So you're approaching people now with feeling worthy. I'm worthy to talk. I'm worthy enough to talk to great people. Why wouldn't I talk to people? Every time I talk to a person, a soul, it's a soul. So these terms, person and even human, put those aside for a second and just see everybody's soul to soul. Because in the dating scene, I did some research lately. And in the dating scene, there's a lot of low consciousness advice out there on these dating shows. And these dating shows, a lot of time, are fun to watch. But they're rating people on a scale of 1 to 10 and telling basically how valuable people are. And I can see, like, from a biological or even society point of view, what they're saying could be true. You're forgetting the quantum field. That is out of those talks. You can manifest and magnetize anything you want. God didn't create you to be limited by limiting beliefs that you get from dating shows or any show. You're valuable beyond measure. And so is the person you're talking to. So I do not see people anymore. I see souls. Graduate from this judgment of people. Graduate from it now, immediately. He's fat. He's too thin. He's too tall. He's too short. She needs to look like this. Matrix, matrix, matrix talk. Disidentify from all that stuff. Graduate in consciousness to seeing that I'm your brother or sister. I'm not your enemy. I'm your friend. Becoming good with people is seeing them not as a person, not as a human, seeing them as a soul to soul. Just take away those terms and come back to soul and soul, soul connection, a real soul connection. Because otherwise you start seeing people as separate than you. The ego starts to perceive people as a threat or trying to one up on you. Then you create all these supporting stories, and then you start to manifest the evidence. And then that evidence is more proof to validate your belief. And then before you know it, you don't want to be around people. You're having negative dialogue about people. You say you want to bring in clients, but you talk bad about clients so much that you've linked pain to getting clients. All this stuff. It can happen to even somebody that's super successful. You deserve great social skills. And to be authentic, you can't be seeing somebody as a 1 or a 10 or judging them based upon something they have externally. Because then you'll miss the soul. You'll miss the soul in front of you. Souls. We're talking. But this dating advice is interesting. I think it's low consciousness. I think that when I started meeting women and communicating with people, one of the things I was taught is to rate people. So one big bone I had to pick with it's not really a bone to pick with the PUA community, the pickup community. I'm done with that whole scene. So there's no bone. There's no bone to pick. But they used to rate women. Oh, she's a 10. She's an 8. There's no depth to it. You're just basic on looks. She's more than that. She's more than just a pair of boobs. She's more than just the girl who goes hot in a red dress. She's a soul. She has beautiful things to offer this world. And she's my sister. And she's my brother. Or he's my brother. We're brothers and sisters. And we cannot live in separation and judgment any longer. Notice how much your mind judges. It's normal, but it can become such a pattern that it's deep-seated in you, where you walk around judging constantly, judging to see if somebody's a threat. I mean, you're in hypervigilance all day long. And why you're in hypervigilance is a deeper conversation, because then you get into trauma and all that stuff. But if you want to be good with people, you've got to see them as a soul. Everybody see the true value. See the true value. I love what, his name is Brad. He's on TikTok. I've been watching him for a long time. I don't remember his last name. He says a lot of good stuff though. And he has this question. I want to put this in here. He asks people, if I gave you $10 million today, but you couldn't wake up tomorrow, would you take that deal? If I gave you $10 million today, but you couldn't, you have to just probably spend it right away. But you couldn't wake up tomorrow, would you take the deal? They, of course, say, no, it's a bad deal. He says, well, that's how much your life is worth. And the person I'm talking to is a life, is a soul. You are life. You are love. You are soul. When we see other people as separate and we create an enemy out of them, then that's the reality we're creating. And we're trying to transcend past this stuff. The world is in metamorphosis right now. It's in the cocoon at the stage before the butterfly is revealed. And right before, in metamorphosis, right before the butterfly is full blown, there's the most chaos. There's the most chaos. There's the most unconsciousness, and there's the most awakening at the same time. You can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. We all feel something's coming. And perhaps when you see this, when you watch this over and over again, repetition is the mother of all skill. When you watch this over and over again, so you can actually embed the content and the learnings into your mind and then apply them, you're going to stop seeing people as separate. When I saw people as separate and enemies and disconnected from me, first of all, I didn't understand anything about the quantum field and that everything is connected. Everything's connected. That's why my thoughts are mostly loving. I'm aware of my thoughts as much as I possibly can. And I'm thinking about what I'm thinking about. And so I want to send love. I want to send gratitude. I want to send appreciation. I want to be authentic with people. You feel me on this? What's been your biggest takeaway so far? That you can something actionable. We talked about eye contact. We talked about observing your own thoughts while you're in conversation with people. It's important. We're talking about practical things like asking quality questions. If you could have your ideal job in this world with the ideal pay, what job would that be? What's the funniest moment of your life? What's a moment in your life that was sensual? What's a moment in life where you felt like you were an animal? And what animal? If you could be any animal in the world, what animal would it be? So when I was doing these dating seminars with men and women, but primarily men for the first 6 years, I did this for 10 years, quite a journey. I would have people do improv exercises because I learned one thing with people that were super logical. This will help you if you're a logical person. It'll help you overall. Their left brain was like, imagine it's like a major muscle. But imagine this is their left brain. It's big. Their right brain was like their creativity center, you could say. Right here was a small muscle. And I know my goal was to go like this. So they had left brain and right brain operating at high levels. So I'd give them creative brain exercises. And I would go, and we had the thing called the elephant exercise. I don't know what the elephant exercise, like why it's called that, but this exercise will take you to the next level. You put a timer on for 1 minute, and you have like a random animal, let's say dolphin. And then the people who are playing this game with you, you can play it with yourself too, is go. Dolphin. And then you say anything associated with a dolphin or a question that you have about a dolphin. How far can the dolphins swim in one go? Do dolphins take swim breaks? How far out of the water can dolphins jump? How many different kinds of dolphins are in the world that we know of? How many dolphins have been domesticated where they will just totally let go of their natural stuff that they do? How many dolphins are existing on planet Earth today? How many dolphins have been known to be extinct? So, as you can tell, I've never lost this skill. That's what I'm saying, like communication skills are the best thing because I can activate them in any moment. I don't lose them. Even if I don't talk to people for a long time, I still have them. It's like riding a bike. I just get up on the bike. Haven't done the bike for a while. Get up on the bike, ride the bike. Riding the bike. It's awesome. Right? I love people. I love people. When I start believing in bullshit about people, because maybe I got a piece of news or something. Goat milk's in that. Goat milk is in that. Heard it's good for the digestive system. Not sure though. Not sure. I'm going to teach you a litany of stuff right now. So that's the elephant exercise. You pick any animal. You can pick anything too, like a book. and then ask questions about it. You can pick a pen. You can pick anything. You get creative with it. Okay. The other thing is to get your right brain going from this to this is to do what we call verbal vomit. And this is an exercise. You can do it the same. You put it at the same in the sense that you put like a minute timer on, but you can grow it to like 5 minutes. And what you're going to do is you go until you can't go anymore, or you have long breaks in your thinking. So I'm going to do an example now because I'll give you a live demo. I need to see demos, by the way, to be able to really get something. Go. Everything's working out for me. I'm loving this life I'm living. I got this little blue thing. It's a massager. Haven't used it. Have had it for years. Feels pretty good. I'm looking forward to getting some brand new styluses. I had somebody ask me about styluses and if I wanted one, and I said yes, and they're going to get me one for Christmas, hopefully a whole pack. I've got this little shocker thing that I buy, and these are the only products that I've ever bought that I've bought probably like 10 of them at this point, maybe 7, but a lot of them. And the thing about these is they help you get rid of pain in your body. And I got this from a healer. And notice how I have it taped at the top. Because they break. But they work. Here's the thing. They're the only product that breaks that I would actually recommend you getting. So hopefully some company will make better ones. And I know there are better ones out there, but maybe I should get some. I'm going to investigate tonight. So keep going, keep talking. You can see how I'm talking. I'm talking right now. I have a ring light on. I have other lights on. I have goat milk. I wonder what goat milk is all about. I'm cruising. I'm grooving. I'm talking. You're practicing talking. You're talking. Things are working out for me. I'm loving this life that I'm living. I'm lucky. I've always been lucky, and I'll always be lucky. Then you stop. And you take a breath. And you just exercise the right brain, activating it more and more. And I learned that a lot of these men I was working with and women, their right brains were really small in terms of like exercising them, right? And mine were really strong, I noticed. And I also noticed some of their left brain function was way better than mine. But I noticed the right brain I tend to be a really creative person. I've always been creative. I have that flow, writing songs and whatnot. And so my creative brain has always been extremely strong. Extremely strong. So you want to do exercises that can get you talking, that can get your circuitry firing, that can get you into your creativity. So there's so many things you can do to create a strong right brain. Because when you're in conversations, you want to be able to come up with things on the fly. You want to be able to come up with things on the fly. If I'm in a conversation, I don't want to have space where nothing's being said. However, unless it's just like natural and we're pausing, and then we come back together. But if I want to keep the conversation going, I want to be able to keep the conversation going. You know what I'm saying? I don't want it to have, a lot of men would get brain freeze. And women would get this. They would get into conversations with people and they wouldn't be able to find out what to say or what to say next after they had started the conversation. So what we had to do was improve their skills, showing them that they can continue conversations with ease by asking great questions. I'm kind of hammering that in. Ask better questions, you get better answers from people. Seriously, improve your questions you not only ask to other people, but yourself. Be a hunter of great questions, and your life will go to the next level. And here's a new thing you can do. Here's another technique. They're called ask-formations, and they're big in the manifestation community right now, but they really get around the the thing where you say an affirmation and you're like, yeah, but that's not true. You can feel like in every cell of your body, you're like, yeah, that's not true. I don't believe that at all. These kind of get around it. So instead of saying I receive good news constantly, you say, why do I receive good news constantly? Ask and you shall receive. Why do I receive good news constantly? Why am I so sexy and handsome? Why am I great with people? Why am I asking such great questions lately? Why am I so crazy brilliant? Why am I already a genius? Why do things always seemingly work out for me? Why is God always protecting me 24/7? Why is my life just one magical thing after the next? Why am I getting so good at being able to handle any situation that comes my way? Doesn't mean I don't feel negative emotion. Doesn't mean I don't have off days or off hours. But I can deal with what comes up. And I can convert what comes up into something beautiful. So I recently learned a ninja skill that can help you if you're in conversation and you get triggered. All triggers are activations. They're usually something that needs to be looked at. But if you're like at a family event and somebody says something that maybe you're secretly embarrassed about and you don't want anybody to know, and you feel that, instead of get reactive, instead of feel bad and beat up yourself, you can go, I'm giving myself energy. So you feel the activation of the energy inside of you. Somebody said something, and then I'm giving myself energy. It's a pattern interrupt. And I apologize to the creator on TikTok. I don't know her name, who gave me this tip yesterday. And I was like, I started telling it to clients already, and they're like, whoa. So you get triggered, and instead of internalizing it, beating up on yourself, feeling guilty, you can do that and do the old way, which is the tunnel of transmutation, which I'll give you that too. So you have a variety of things you can use. Practical tools. I'm practical. When you get triggered in your life, say this is a good thing, and I'm going to explore it, and you sit with it. And imagine you're at one end of a tunnel, and you're going to go all the way through, and it's going to be going from dark to light. And you sit with it, and you say, okay, I'm going to feel this. Okay, I feel like shit. They said this, and it made me feel this way. I don't like them, and I'm blaming them for making me feel this way. How dare they? And I'm sick of these people, and I can't believe it. I don't like feeling this way, but I know I'll feel better. And sometimes you just want to shut up and feel it. And sometimes I'll sit with this for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And I'll just feel it instead of avoid it. Now, sometimes you don't have time to go through the tunnel of transformation, but you can go, triggered, I'm getting energy. I'm giving myself energy is what it is. I'm giving myself energy. It's the craziest pattern interrupt, and I love it. And I literally feel like it works. How do you know if something is truth? It works the first time. Works the first time you use it. Works the first time you use it. So if somebody triggers you, family member or whatever, and they probably do it unintentionally. Although some people, if you've ever been in a family, there's usually somebody that likes to instigate and like really get into conflict with people, and not in a good way. You've had those family members probably. Like, you steer clear of them, and you decide you're not available to interacting with them anymore, or you're minimizing them because you have standards in who you allow into your life. You take back your power. You decide that good people are surrounding you constantly. You start sending out that vibe to the universe. The universe responds. It's how God built the universe. Okay, learn how it works. Learn how to work it. Okay, you can create some beautiful things. You can manifest anything, whether that's a man, if you're a woman, and you want a man, you're like, man, I want a hunky man can be a power couple with, right? And he can protect and provide and do all those things, and I can just be in my feminine essence, and he'll love that too. Or you want to manifest a big pile of money, and you want to have clear thoughts about money. You want to have clear thoughts about money. Somebody, I think it was Lindsay Wilson, posted on my Facebook page. She said she had a billionaire friend, and she was talking with him, and he basically said that people with money usually have a great relationship with money. They can talk about it without being triggered. They can talk about it like it's anything. It's not a big deal. And then she said, but they didn't start talking about it like that when they got the money. They talked about like that before they got the money. So they sent the signal out to the universe first, then the universe responded. And they were persistent. When you're getting good with people, you want to be persistent. Persistence. It means you're consistently putting yourself out there and not going to give into, you're feeling like you've always got to retreat. Now, retreating or hibernating to recharge is different than saying, I'm going to live a life with cool people in my life. I'm going to actually interact because it's good for my business and because it lights my circuitry up in my brain and the other people. And life is better with cool people. Life is better with cool people. A lot of people say they don't like to interact with people because they're not talking to quality people. They're not talking to people that are even listening to you while you're saying anything. Or that you've just outgrown and they're talking about the same thing they've been talking about for 10, 20 years. You're over it. You're ready to graduate to conversations with amazing people. I'm telling you, when you're in a room, if you're in a room with amazing people that you enjoyed interacting with, you'd feel great. You'd feel great. I've went to business deals, masterminds where I used all my conversation skills. All of them. Every single one. Every single one of my conversation skills. I want you to have conversation skills. Not for me, but for you. And so you can spread good cheer around. You can spread good cheer around and not be afraid anymore. Conversation skills take practice. And I'm going to tell you straight up, they're real world practice. You can't just read about it. You can't take notes about it. Like, just do that. You've got to actually implement, because experience points are greater than money. I think Sheldon said that from the Big Bang Theory. Experience points are more important than money, more valuable than money. Experience points are more valuable than money. And when it comes to conversation skills, which are profitable skills you can learn, you want to master them. You want to absolutely master them. So when you're in conversation with a person or a business, whether it's a business deal or just making friends or just someone passing by, you're going to walk away making them feel better because you're present, you're listening, you're learning, you're grabbing data, you're listening if God is speaking through them to you. Think about how much more present you become when you have the thought, God may be speaking to me right now. That's crazy. And I know some of you don't use the word God, and that's fine. Use the word universe. Okay? Whatever floats your boat. But I just want you to get the point. It's like, I'm excited to talk to people. Okay? Do you think it's a big deal for me to talk to people anymore? Yes and no. Because like I said, I have that investigative, I like to study a lot in solitude. So I've learned to recognize when I don't feel as good as I could. And that's when I'm not interacting with people. That's why I'm in masterminds right now. I've got people that are supporting me. I've got people that I'm supporting, encouraging, growing, going for more, being okay with calling in more in your life and not feeling guilty about it, and believing that you can have anything you want, but also believing that you can be a kind and generous soul, a loving soul, somebody who came to earth and was actually vibrating love, projecting love, showing people what the possibility of somebody who's joyous is, or who's strong and firm, whatever your style is. Mine's more playful and fun and having a good time. Your vibe could be totally something different. But what's your authentic vibe? And then bring that to the marketplace if you're in business. Honestly, if you had conversation skills and you wanted to, how many DMs could you send out? How many conversations would you get on with people and say, hey, I'm not trying to sell you anything. Just want to know how I can help. And you just start messaging people. Some people would say yes, and then you follow up with that lead, that person, that soul. Forget lead, forget human, forget all that stuff. Soul to soul connection. Transcending the judgment of the body. Transcending the judgment of the body. And you can talk to anybody. You can talk to from the peasant to the billionaire, right? And you can see, wait, they're both valuable souls. Even if they're a bad person who should be having brought justice upon. You can learn from every single person. There's not one person you cannot learn from. Think of somebody who is annoying you. Think of somebody who you have resistance towards. Then ask yourself, what are 5 lessons that this person has actually taught me? And you get out and you journal about it. And you connect with it. By the time you're done connecting and you've genuinely answered those, you will start thinking differently about that person, and you will get a different person in your reflection. Because again, it's quantum field. It's just what it is. When you change your energy, you change your life. When you change your energy, you change what you're seeing. That's what it is. Everybody can be somebody who you help out as well. Maybe that person becomes a client you're talking to. Maybe that person knows somebody, if you're single, that you could go date. Maybe that somebody knows somebody that could get you a job. Maybe that's somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who has a connection that was supposed to be made because you talked to them and God wanted you to. And they gave you a little tip, and that tip led you to doing something wonderful. You never know. You never know. And so life is a treasure hunt. And it's like every day is a new treasure hunt. And it's fun. And it's feisty. And it's anything you want to create it as. Tuning into the frequency of actually being good with people. Best thing I ever did. You want to get somebody's phone number or their contacts? Be honest with them. Be honest with them. I decided, you're cool. I'm getting your number. Hand them your phone. Have certainty in your tone. Good eye contact. Firm, leading. People are drawn to people who have certainty. The more you value yourself, the more certainty you're going to have. I'm a valuable person. My work is valuable. I love lighting people up. I'm getting your number, or whatever. You lead. You start leading in your life. You start leading in your life. It takes courage to talk to people. It takes great courage. Because depending on where you're at, you're going to get your biosuit, the brain and the body, not the soul, is going to have protection mechanisms, especially if you've been hurt in the past by other people. And so when you're talking to people, the protection mechanisms could be going threat, threat, threat. And so you'll be in conversations and you'll be feeling like you will be super uncomfortable, and you're not noticing, you're not aware enough to know that the threats, your biosuit's going threat, 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 and you're talking to this person, and part of you is in fight or flight and you're trying to focus. One thing that I found out, that before you go out for a night of socializing, or even if you're just meeting up with a date, is to get into a feel-good state. I can't believe I'm still teaching this after all these years. This is wonderful. Number one, always get into a feel-good state, because it's cold in here. Because when you get into a feel-good state, you're switching gears, you're shifting gears from I'm in work mode to I'm in social mode, from I'm in this kind of energy to social mode, yeah. So what I would see is a mistake, and I made this mistake too, is going to a party and you're not even warmed up. You want to get into a feel-good state by warming up. You can warm up a lot of ways. One of my favorite things to do is this. Now, why are you doing that? Kind of seems silly, huh? You're doing that because you're shifting gears from non-social mode to social mode. And now I have access. I'm like opening up access to different information when I click into this mode. So if I went into a bar, I'd first get into a feel-good state, and then I go talk to people. If I went to a party, I would get into a feel-good state first and then enter, right? If I was at a party or some social, maybe a business mastermind, I'd go into the bathroom and I would get into state. And sometimes getting into state is not doing that. Sometimes it's just, do some tapping. Because maybe you're like in fight or flight and you need to calm the amygdala down. It's okay that I'm feeling this way. People really trigger me a lot. I don't know. My body goes crazy. How can I be this successful and yet still feel this way? I thought this problem was handled. Well, obviously not. What does this mean about me? Does that mean I didn't really learn any social skills? No. It could mean something different. What else could it mean? It could also mean that I'm out there trying. I'm out there putting myself out there, which is badass. Putting yourself out there. And can I give myself credit? Can I give myself credit? Yeah, I can give myself credit. I don't need to be mean to myself anymore. I don't need to tell myself I'm bad with people, or that I can't trust people, or that nobody likes me. I don't have to indulge in those stories anymore. And I'm not saying they're not true or accurate, but I'm acknowledging that I don't want to stay there anymore, because I'm moving on. I'm up-leveling my communication skills with people. And I'm deciding that I attract good people into my life. Why do I attract great people into my life always? And it's not BS, because it's learning how the quantum field work, like Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about. You're learning how the quantum field works so you can manifest anything you desire, including social skills, conversation. Really, it's not, you don't want the conversation skills and all that. You want those deep, real connections that you're secretly craving. Like you're wanting the depth. You're tired. Especially if you're somebody like me who investigates stuff. You crave depth. You crave realness. You're tired of what you've seen so far in the Matrix. You're like, another day on Facebook, another day on social media platforms, and they're like, are people actually really connecting? And you start talking to real life people. I talk to people every single day, by the way. There's barely been a day where I haven't been talking to multiple people each day. And I say that because I've been able to keep up my skills. I've been able to learn distinctions. And I can tell you there's another thing I want to talk about is there's a variety of people on the planet. So I think I sort of talked about this earlier, but I want to go deeper with it, is that not everybody you meet is going to be in your life forever. Some people are here for a season. But you may believe that certain people need to be there, you need to do things, you need to all this. And actually, you've already gotten to the point where you're ready to disassociate from those people and leave them or minimize communication with them because you just don't vibe. There's no vibe. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It doesn't mean you can't learn things from them. It just means you're deciding who you're hanging out with now because you're deciding who you're going to be while you're here. You're going to take back the reins and control of your life. Stop outsourcing your value and who you are, how worthy you are of things by what other people say and all this nonsense. And decide that you're taking back your power. Decide that you're incredible with people. Decide you attract amazing people and amazing clients. Decide things are working out for you. Decide that it's unbelievably time for you to cash in on your business. And you're going to allow more people in and you're going to receive people. And if you have any pain linked to people at all, you're going to do that exercise where you get out of the sheet of paper, you said people are, and then you stream out every single belief you have about people. And you're honest, because self-honesty is curative. Being honest with yourself. So I would approach people, as you can imagine, and I would say things to women like, stop, I'm mad at you. You haven't given me my giant Care Bear hug today. And you kind of look, she would know you were being playful. And then you'd be surprised how many girls would instantly give me a hug. And they were they weren't just drunk girls. There were women out there. So many people actually go to the bar and don't drink. That's a secret. So many people go to the bar or social events and they don't drink. They're like me, but I'll like maybe have like a beer and that's it. Because I want to be coherent. I don't want to be belligerent and drunk. None of that. I want to be focused with the people that I'm at. You've got to put yourself out there. And that's a decision. It's like if you're a business person and you're ready to sell something that's incredible, you know, you quickly know that you can't just build the product and then hope people come. It's not really how it works. You've got to advertise. You got to say, hey, we've got something for sale over here. Here's what it is. Here's how it'll benefit you. Here's how to get it. Right? You got to learn how to advertise. Start advertising yourself by getting out of the house. Saying, I'm going to go to a social event. Or I'm going to get on Zoom with somebody and start practicing conversation skills. The best way you can do is get on Zoom with somebody else, push record, watch the thing back. You do like a practice conversation with the person. Watch yourself back and see how you're coming off. See how you deliver your words. See what are the kind of questions you ask. And see if you can get better. Analyze your own conversations. This is another thing I did with clients is I would videotape them when they came into a workshop. We'd videotape them doing like a monologue from an actor, from like a screenplay. And they would have to like spend all week learning the play and then deliver it on camera. And so they'd want to nail it. And I was teaching them how to do delivery. How to captivate people's attention, but how to do it in an authentic way. They'd watch themselves back And they would say, I didn't know I was coming off that way. I perceived that I was coming off a certain way. I can see why women weren't attracted to me now. Or I can see why my conversations are so dull and surfacey. So recording yourself back, or recording yourself and watching yourself back, that's what I'm trying to say, is invaluable. Because how you're coming off, you may not know. So many people I've had to get in the uncomfortable conversations with and say, you're a repelling person. And it's fixable. It's fixable. But we got to find out why you're not magnetic. You're actually repelling people. They want to get away from you. For some people, it was their eye contact was too intense. For some people, there was no eye contact. For other people, it was, you could just tell they didn't have a backbone. And immediately women would just be like, their biosuit could pick up on that and be like, nope, not good for survival, not good for replication, sorry. And so you've got to learn how to come off authentic. So one thing you can do is get on with other people and start practicing your conversation skills. Then watch them back and see how you're actually coming off. You may not be aware of what you look like in conversation and also what you sound like and how you're making people feel. It's all about feeling. People don't remember what you say in conversation. A lot of time they walk away with, how did that person make me feel? You know, Andy really, I walked away from that class with Andy and I just felt a newfound energy of maybe I can talk to people, or maybe I can take my business to the next level. Maybe you were talking to people and you've lost momentum and you know you need to just, you're already brilliant and you already have a great message and you already have great products, but you're at a point and you're already financially successful and you're just locked up. Maybe you had a bad experience with a client. There's many people that have bad experiences with clients and they link pain to clients and people. This happened to me. And then money flow goes whoosh, because the biosuit says, soul, you're asking to bring more clients in, but that client just brought you a lot of pain. Clients equal pain. We're not going to allow that. Nope. Soul wants to expand always and grow. Biosuit says, nope. Adding more clients to the roster will equal pain like last time. We're not going to do that. So either you love up on me and change the feeling around clients, or I'm going to stay and block everything because I'm actually protecting you. I'm protecting you. I'm a friend. I'm not some devil. I'm just a pattern inside of you that is operating. So you love up on any pattern. I'm gaining energy. Isn't that cool? But I love to talk to people, as you can see, because I understand the value of being able to get on a sales call with somebody, let's say, and let's say you're going down a script and the conversation goes off script and you genuinely feel like you shouldn't go back to the script. You should say something authentic. Joe, I really believe that this program will save your life. I really believe that you're going to triple your productivity and accomplish more in the next 8 days than you did in the last 8 weeks. And I know that this game, the zone, actually it's momentum will set your soul on fire. You manifest more money, which you can do so much more with your family. You can take them on vacations. You can buy the food you want. You don't have to worry about money anymore. Or Jill, your business is amazing. And I've heard about your love life for the last hour. I want to appreciate you for actually being authentic. It's refreshing. I believe that you can magnetize your man, but you've got to believe that you can magnetize your man. You've got to believe it's possible. Do you believe it's possible? Great. Okay, in our conversation, you told me that you tried this, and this, and it didn't work. So my suggestion is that you try the one thing you haven't, which is the zone, or magnetize your man. So conversation skills and sales skills, and there's different styles of both. The good news is they overlap. They're intertwined. And so you're not only learning, so sales skills are called the king skill, according to Tai Lopez. Remember that YouTube guy? He said that he learned a couple skills, but one of them, the king skill, is sales skills. And sales skills and conversation skills are very similar, and they have a lot of overlaps. Lots of overlaps. And so there's a lucrative skill that you can get good at. I want to imprint the importance of this skill because it lights up your brain, it lights up your soul. So start with your mind and start noticing what comes up in conversations. See the judgments. See if you're actually even listening to somebody next time. The next person you talk to, on the phone, in person, over Zoom, wherever, you see what's inside your mind when they're talking. Because when I make my spouse feel unheard, it's when I was just thinking about my own shit. I was thinking about my own shit while she was talking. And I wasn't really listening. I was thinking about my own stuff. And that happens. But most of the time, if I can be like, somebody's talking, no thoughts that I could have, and all thoughts are more important than what this person's telling me right now. And your brain goes silent. There's no dialogue. There's no interference. And I'm with you. And I'm fully locked in. Like a heat-seeking missile. But it doesn't feel so intense that it's like, it makes you feel bad. There's got to be like a softness to it. Right? So notice next time you're in a conversation, what are the thoughts that circulate habitually and automatically? And then also, am I actually listening to people? To be a great listener, you have to abandon needing to be heard, needing to be talked about your world, needing to have something talked about that you actually give a crap about. It's giving that up, at least for a moment. Zoning in on this person, because I have seen people's lives change just from a few minutes of a quality attention with another human being. There are interactions that I've had that have changed my life forever. Just one conversation that I never saw the person again, but it was such a great conversation that I learned a lot from it. So much from it because I was able to be present with the person. Presence really is the key. But if you've got so much thoughts rapid firing automatically and you're not catching them, you're more likely to be in that while they're talking. You're in the mess. You're not fully, there's no spaciousness in your mind. You're just vomiting. You could be a joy to talk to. You could be so good with people that, let's say you're in business, that they instantly trust you because you have a trustworthy vibe. That's what you give off of you give a trustworthy vibe off. And so you can move faster with people in the sales process. The sales cycle is shorter. But if you're not good with people, I knew one entrepreneur and he was horrible with people, but great at his craft. And so he needed to learn skills because he was repelling people in his business. He was misinterpreting the communications he was getting and taking things personally and all that. And so he improved his social skills. And over time, he became better and he became more of a leader. So to get good with people, I had to, in closing, I had to declare that I was going to figure this out and I was going to stick with it until, and I was not going to waver. The reason people don't get manifestations is because they waver. They set it, they get excited, and what happens? It's not here. Where is it? I need to learn something new. I'm missing information. Or, it's not here. Something must be wrong with me. I'm special. I'm different from everybody else. I'm the one that it doesn't work out for. Always. Be the one that it works out for by choosing. You choose who you are. You choose who you show up as. You don't have to be who you've always been. You don't have to interact with people the way you've always interacted with them. And let's light some people up. Let's use you as a lighthouse while you're here to light people's soul up. And hopefully if you're in business, that leads to more sales. Or if you're an artist, that leads to more people getting exposed to your music or your art. And let's do something amazing. Light people up. Light them up like Christmas trees. Light them up like a light bulb. Boom, 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 boom. Pop them like popcorn. Boom, 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 boom. And have deeper conversations. When you have deeper conversations with people because you ask better questions, you're more present than anybody else, it changes their entire structure of their entire belief system. And I'm not trying to make people believe certain things. However, I'm saying you can leave, and I can't even know if I can use this word, indelible. Is that a word? Is indelible a word? But you can leave a lasting impression that makes somebody feel like, wow, I can do anything. Or, wow, secretly I was wanting to kill myself. But that person talked to me and she was so present with me, I feel alive again. Or if you're a woman, you can give a man a compliment. Like when I got one out of walking into Rite Aid, actually Walgreens, and a woman, I had my Italian shoes on that I miss dearly, and have never seen again. And she commented how much she loved them. And that made a lasting impression with me because men don't get compliments. Typically. Because the way everything's structured with men and women and how women are supposed to be and how men are supposed to be aren't good receivers of compliments because they don't get them. So when you get them, when you give them, ladies, they can be a nice way to open a conversation, but I don't want him to think he likes me. But do you want to make people feel good? Give people compliments, especially if people don't get them. Start with that with your conversation skills. Do something that's like jumping over just to, like if you were stone jumping across the river, like one of my coaches, Emma, talks about, just jump across the next river stone. Don't jump across the river, jump to the next river stone. And the next river stone could be a small step, like complimenting somebody. You know how many people are offing themselves nowadays? 80% of which are men in the US. That's what I heard. Some statistic like that's crazy. Give men compliments. Give women compliments. Love up on each other. Stop separating from each other. Stop hiding. Communicate. Give great eye contact. Think about what you're thinking about. Notice what's going on in your brain. Challenge to grow your left brain by doing things like math, I guess, in your head. By the way, I do that. I make myself calculate now. And then the right brain, doing the elephant exercise. And then asking better questions. If this was my last day on earth, what would be my parting words? If there's one lesson in my life I want to impart into all the children, what is that lesson? If I got to do life over in the same body, how would I do it differently? If I was 80 looking back at myself right now as a 40-year-old, what would I tell him? Chill out. You're doing well. You're sniffing out the trail of abundance and you're in it. You're living in the overflow. Recognize it. Stop beating up on yourself. You're an amazing man, but you're an even more powerful soul, and things are working out for you. So in closing, I want you to write down after this, what are your biggest takeaways? Try to come up with 3. And then what's the one action for each of them? So you could say, well, when he talked about affirmations, I really like that. Why am I so sexy and handsome? And you could say, okay, well, I'm gonna write that down 100 times a day. Or why does everything work out for me so flawlessly every day? I'm Andrew C. Bailey. I hope you got some value from this masterclass. I will talk to you later. Bye.